Hello, 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 everyone. This is Irene with SaugaTalks. Hello, I do hope everybody doing really well because I am delighted. I am delighted today. My guest of the hour is Tyler Cohen Wood. Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on your show.
Lovely, because the topic is endless, but we will try to frame it nicely. Because here on the show, I talk about technical topics with fascinating people in tech. My goal is to really break some boundaries that tech talks not only for technical people, it's for everyone. And connected health, Tyler. So we said we're going to talk about some of the digital aspects of it, technology, humans, consumers, providers, you name it, okay? The floor is yours. I want to ask you, connected health, how should we think about it in the very simple terms?
Well, connected health can refer to a lot of different things. It can refer to a connected healthcare system. It can refer to connecting certain aspects of healthcare, like for example, people that there are no cures for what they have, so they can enter trials. There's a lot of open consolidation that's going on in the healthcare community, and it's extremely exciting. It's extremely exciting.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm following, of course, on the technical side, connected devices,
Yeah.
wearables. Seems like we can have any kind of data point we want to. So, what are the exciting news there, Tyler?
Well, there's so much innovation and so much that's happening, but we have to keep cybersecurity in mind when we're talking about any aspect of healthcare or really any vertical, because everything is now tied to cybersecurity. And there are a lot of great devices. My Apple Watch, really helps me with some cardiac issues that I have, and I know it helps many other people too. You have health trackers. There are even smart mattresses, smart socks that can tell you how far you've gone. I'm waiting for smart nail polish or smart lipstick. That's going to be really cool. But one thing that most of these devices have in common is that they have some type of connection to the smartphone. And that connection can be, with the watch. It's how I choose settings on the watch. Or if it's, a health tracker or a Fitbit or even a medical implant, meaning, a pacemaker, a glucose monitor. There's a connection to the smartphone with many of these devices. And one of the big problems in healthcare is ensuring that entire ecosystem between the implant or the watch or the device, through the network to the phone, is secured in every manner. That's what I call really securing the ecosystem.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're jumping right into this because, I wanted to start with toys, all the wearables, all the fashion tech, all the stuff that we can measure everything and anything. But let's get serious a little bit here in a way that security, cybersecurity, you spent quite a part of your career improving system advising, and it's absolutely impressive background. So, Tyler, who, if not you, can talk to us about connected health means connected data for everything and everyone. How we're going to make sure we're not giving up the information that's not meant to be shared.
Well, this is where things get tricky. And some information, people just, they give it out through social media, and they may not even realize that they're giving away a lot of information about themselves, their health, or their family. But if there is someone that is targeting you, or there's a nation state act or something along those lines, they're looking for certain disease groups, you want to make sure that what you're posting is well thought out and not something that can come back to affect you, or your family. I'll take this in a different direction. And I'm sorry, this is not necessarily healthcare, but one of the reasons that I wrote the book Catching the Catfishers was because of a horrible story that I was told by a man, a special agent at the Department of Defense, where I used to do digital forensics. And I left DoD Cybercrime Center and moved to the Defense Intelligence Agency for some other interesting projects. But I kept in touch with all of the agents, and I had one who told me the story. It was horrible, about a man that they had caught for distribution of child porn. And as the forensic examiner was reviewing the digital devices, he noticed that this man, who was in his 40s, was having a conversation with an 11-year-old girl, and he knew everything about her. He convinced her that he knew her. He knew that she went to dance class every Saturday, where. He knew she was having some issues with her brother. He knew everything. And fortunately, they didn't meet. He was caught for distribution before they could ever meet. But the examiner really wanted to know, how did he know all this information about the girl? And it turned out that he had been, the mother had been posting all kinds of stuff with her kids to social media without any privacy settings, but she was also blogging about it and posting photos of her kids that actually still contained metadata, EXIF data, which is information about the camera that took the photo. But one of the things that metadata includes is the exact geographic location of where the photo was taken. And that is one way that he was able to really target where this girl was. He also went to her dating sites, and she had a lot of pictures about her children, and was very open about the problems that, her kids were having. And I'm sure the mother would have been horrified to know that this man was targeting her daughter because of the things that she was posting online. And that really concerned me. So I wanted to, write a book that would help teach parents and kids how to really vet if who they're talking to is who they say they are, and how to really understand this online domain at really a child level. And that same issue, that same problem affects us in any vertical in healthcare, because if we're posting a lot of information about our health issues in unsecured forums, we could be potentially, putting ourselves at risk too.
The moment we're thinking, right, about cybersecurity, people think about the organizations, right, the assets of their companies, but we forget sometimes the value of our personal data in the most innocent way. How can we, when it comes to our connected health, let's focus on that, right, and health information, how can we protect ourselves in a way that it's just common sense, like us as consumers? Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing that I do if I have any connected health devices as the user, as the end user, the consumer, I want to make sure that if it is connecting to my smartphone, and that's how I'm utilizing the tool, I want to make sure that that smartphone is as secure as possible. And what I always recommend that people do is have a date with your smartphone. Grab a glass of wine, beer, whatever, and go through your phone and look at each app and make sure that you know what each of those apps has access to, because you don't want for any of your information to bleed into other applications. I think not too long ago, there was an app that would make you look older, but it was also exfiltrating a lot of information off of your digital device. And, most of these apps are innocuous, but they do ask for permissions that they don't necessarily need access to. So definitely making sure that that endpoint, that smartphone is secured. Also, when you're if you're having a physician appointment and it's online, it's telehealth, you want to make sure that information is as protected as possible. And if you're doing it from home, and for physicians too, if they're also working from home, I highly recommend that you separate your laptop or your smartphone, whatever device you're using for that appointment, off of the rest of your home network. And you can do that by using a feature that's called a guest network. And that way, if you take all of your IoT devices, your kids' computers, everything else off of that network, that is again another layer that's going to add protection to you when you're having your appointments, and also dealing with these digital devices.
Technology is moving forward. So many companies creating solutions as we speak to make our lives better, easier to navigate, right? More convenient for all of us. You involved in Connected Health venture. Can you talk? Yeah, what is it that you started recently?
Sure. So my background is really Department of Defense cybersecurity, and also in the intelligence realm as well, developing some complex special comms capabilities. And I myself got sick in 2018, and I started navigating the healthcare system, and I immediately noticed that there were some issues. One of them I call specialty siloing, and that's where if multiple doctors need to be involved, you have, one doctor can't talk to the other doctor, and you can't really distribute records very easily. You have to really bring your records to you with each appointment. And as a patient, you don't always know what's important. And there are many diseases that do actually cross specialties, and it really sent me down this really difficult path of knowing that I'm sick, but not really being able to get answers. And I noticed that there was some things that I could do to help the doctors. And, I started creating these charts that were sort of executive summaries of all of my records. And, it was just one of those things where we weren't really getting anywhere. And it wasn't really until the end of 2019 that I started going to some doctors that were really, really, really helping me. And those doctors are actually still on my team of doctors. But you have to understand, I researched everything. I learned how to read medical journals. I know what words mean that I can't pronounce. And I couldn't figure out what it was, and no one could. And right after COVID hit, I got scared. And I decided that I was going to do this MyConnectedHealth system because the world was ready for something like this. In 2018, 19, they really weren't. And, I took the system, and I changed the way that AI is going to work with doctors. And you don't want for AI to try to replace a doctor. You want it to help the doctor. And I also wanted to use different types of AI models. And by utilizing the logic that the system will use, I went back through all of my records. And by doing this method, I diagnosed myself with something that only 300,000 people in this country are known to have. And, I have a great team of doctors around me now, but, I really wanted to make sure, I wanted to do whatever I could to ensure that no one would have to go through that again, and to find a way to actually get ahead of disease instead of trying to put Band-Aids on it. And the real way to do that is sort of out of the box, but it is using a lot more collaboration from various places. and also taking inputs from non-traditional sources and piecing it together to really create a global healthcare platform that can give millions of people access to incredible healthcare and really change the way that we're fighting disease.
Fantastic, Tyler. Fantastic. I mean, this story is absolutely resonating because what you've been through and what you decided to do with these circumstances. So amazing, best of success to this venture. All right. Can we talk about the future a little bit? We said it's going to be future of connected health, right? So today as a society, we are handling what? Government regulations? We're handling technology reality. What is it that we should be looking for in the next decade even?
In the next decade, I believe that we will have solutions like the MyConnectedHealth solution where we are globally connected. It may not necessarily be where, from wherever you are in the world, you can see any doctor that you want. But if you're connected in that manner, we're going to see much, much, much more of that global collaboration. I do think that we're going to start seeing a lot more, some more compliance and regulations coming down to really protect the various sources of data. I'm really excited about a lot of new technologies that are coming out and some that are on the horizon, like brain mapping, genome mapping, organ printing. These things are really exciting. Also utilizing robots for very complex surgeries and, a bunch of other just really exciting things coming down the path. I mean, the innovation since COVID in the healthcare industry has been spectacular. And I'm excited to see, what we come up with. And I do think that we are on a good path to really make this connected health work and make it work for everybody, physicians, payers, payees, for everybody, because I believe that is possible.
Beautiful, beautiful, Tyler. So how about some challenges and barriers on the road of adoption? Because it seems like consumers, right, are more, early adopters. They like to try new things. I don't know about providers. So what's your experience? Yeah.
Well, I love that you asked that question. Adoption would have been extremely difficult pre-COVID, but COVID really forced us into this situation where we needed to move to these telehealth systems, and we needed to move from it very, very quickly. There are some doctors that are very interested in moving forward with these types of connected platforms, and really we've seen that since we've seen it since COVID, where there's a lot more of a greater and faster adoption of these types of platforms because we need to rely on these platforms, in situations like a pandemic. So I think that there's still some holdouts, but I do believe that this is something that will be patient. This is patient, and it's physician driven too, because at the end of the day, physicians want to help their patients, and they know that by collaboration and also utilizing these tools and technologies, that's how they're going to do it. But adoption is small. Sometimes you have to start with baby steps, and when you're trying to build a global healthcare platform, you have to start maybe with a hospital system or an HMO or an organization until you can build it out into something that's global. And adoption is going to come. This is an interesting thing too. A lot of the doctors that are coming into being doctors, they're millennials, and what do you call them after millennials? It's, I think, Zillennials. I'm not sure, but these are people who have been brought up with technology. Some of them have even, there were social media posts about them before they were even born. So they're very comfortable in this type of model. And that is also going to help the adoption of systems such as this.
Interesting point, because of course new generations are coming. Okay, that's the logic of life, for sure. But we all need to be part of this transformation. We are every day. All right. So with that, I just want to kind of send a message to whole humanity out there that we are taking baby steps, like you said. At the same time, technology is making our life so convenient that pretty soon we're not going to be able to refuse it just because of, we want to live better and, more comfortable life.
I wonder if there is how many people there are that do not have any digital technology whatsoever. I believe that the technology is very, very pervasive in every part of the world.
My favorite example, when people start talking about AI taking over the world and robots replacing everybody and all that, and it's coming. I always say that any app that you use, okay, it's here, okay? You don't even realize that any recommendation you get or any very simple improvement like workflow, task, help you get, it's here, so let's embrace it. Let's make it smarter. Let's become smarter with it, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. I used to be one of those people that thought, that AI would take over, but, that was a long time ago. And now I understand it much better that if you use AI the way that it's intended to be used, it's going to function as a support tool, and it just ups the knowledge that we have. So I'm not afraid of AI taking over the world.
Good. That's a message I want sent out there because, like it or not, it's interesting how even 10 years ago, you could stay out of tech completely. You can be dancer, publisher, you can be anyone, right? And just thinking, hey, tech, it's that ivory tower. Okay, I'm not related. I live my life on different side, right? Right now, no longer the case. So can we kind of share, Tyler, with your extensive background, right? Because tech is here for everyone. Let's make the best of it.
I couldn't agree more. It is here. And, I believe that, the future is really going to be helped by the technology that we are developing now.
And technology becoming more human. Let me ask you, what's your favorite AI application or maybe connected health feature that you found the most productive for you, the most efficient?
Well, I guess in my particular case, I would have to say it's really been my watch, because it helps monitor some of the cardiac issues that I have, and without it, I wouldn't know what's going on. I wouldn't know if medications were working. So using this device is something that I use it every day.
Incredible.
Reason. Yep. But there's just so many. There's so many conveniences that we have, especially with healthcare. I mean, I think back to when I was a kid. I mean, we didn't have anything like this. We didn't have phones. None of it. So the advancements that we've made in my lifetime are shocking. It's really impressive, and it seems as if we're advancing quicker and quicker and quicker. And within 10 years, the landscape may look completely different than it does now.
Incredible. So let's jump to my favorite topic of talent, okay? Because we will need so many people working on these systems, making sure they're adapted the right way, making sure the business people outside of tech trained, right? Those doctors, those clinicians, technicians, right? So where do you see we going in terms of this? Yes, demand for new jobs and new careers.
Well, I think that I think that there will be new careers that are created that we may not even know about right now. And I don't think that technology is going to take over every job. I think there's a lot of tweaks that kind of need to be there, but I do believe that there will be there are a lot of jobs in the cybersecurity realm, or even in any of these STEM types of fields. But it's funny that you asked that, because when I was in when I was a kid, when I was in college, even digital forensics just didn't. It really wasn't a thing, and I was a history sociology major. It was just something that I sort of fell into. But if you would have asked me, 10 years prior, I would have said I'm going to be a psychiatrist, or I don't know, a sociologist, a vet, whatever. But, so I think there's going to be a lot of really cool jobs in the future that we just don't even know about yet. We don't know they exist.
Exactly. And in my mind, again, to prepare for that future, with connected health, with any digital roles, right, and jobs that will be out there, let's start now. Let's start learning, right? Let's start upskilling ourselves. Where do you think, again, what are the best opportunities you see?
Well, I think some of the best opportunities are really going to be in the cybersecurity realm, and they're going to be in AI. But you also have to have people that can build, can design. I think there will be some jobs that go away, but I don't think physicians are going away. I don't think attorneys are going away. There are a lot of things that we do need the human for, and I think those jobs will stay. But I'm telling you, I think there's going to be some jobs on the future that are going to be really, really exciting and really cool.
Lovely, lovely. Yep. So with that message, Tyler, absolutely. So we talked about future of connected health. We talked about very basic steps to take, right, for us today without even waiting for that future. So as a takeaway, Tyler, as a way to take away to this talk, can you summarize maybe a few talking points that we do want to leave our audience with?
Yes, absolutely. Well, some of the key takeaways are: there is hope on the horizon. These devices are going to integrate more and more into our lives. And, as some of these new devices are being developed, they're being developed with security in mind. But things that you can do to protect yourself and your health is, really watch what you're posting on social media. Make sure that you're using multi-factor authentication with anything that you're using, be it social media, signing on to a telehealth appointment, signing on to your pharmacy. You want to use the highest security settings possible as well. And also, since that phone really is a central point, I recommend that you really go through the phone and look and see what different apps have permissions to. And lastly, I'll say, I do think that the future is bright, and, just really try to maintain that security presence and that security mindset, because that is one thing that I can guarantee, is that in 10 years time, everybody will have at least like an intermediate understanding of some of the cybersecurity basics, because it's going to be that much of a part of our life.
Thank you, Tyler, so very much for your time. I appreciate.
Thank you so much.